from the first that the library was a significant resource to the community, providing language help, computer services, family programming, a great deal more than access to books. It was also clear that the library was inadequate. The library was out of room, jammed to the rafters with people who needed its services. For that reason, I was thrilled to learn that we would soon have a new library. The planning process was fascinating and involved a large group of citizens who, like me, were eager to help plan this wonderful new community asset. This is why I am honestly horrified by the thought that our city council is even considering the possibility of reneging on their promise to build the library. Such an action would, I believe, be a serious breach of the trust of the voters have placed in the council members. Linda Warwick. Thank you.
Thank you. Hang on 1 second. Does anybody else need a break?
5-minute recess would be appreciated.
Okay. I'm having a request from up here of a 5-minute recess. Some of you are going to take.
Perhaps we could just go one at a time as we need. I mean, since there's limited facilities.
All right, that's
Well, then,
great. We'll do that. Ms. Hensley. Ms. Hensley's going to step out for a moment. We'll go as
It's
needed.
overpowered with all this heat in here.
Yeah. So we will continue, please. Go ahead. If you'd like to speak.
I'm Jean Tallman. I've lived in Canby for 22 years. I've served on the city council here and also in Fort Bragg, California, and as well as 5.5 years on the Canby Planning Commission. Ever since I was very young, I've been involved in politics. I read the book when I took my first seat in a counselor's seat, and it had a list of things that counselors needed to do as counselors. Their responsibility is to the people who voted them in. And it is not their wills and their dreams and desires that are paramount. It is the will of the people that you are representing. Canby loves its library. The last time it had its fate to be voted upon, it won by 68%. What politician wouldn't love those figures? Just remember that there is a big picture for you councilors and mayors to keep remembering. Yes, you need to build up the business community, and I give you credit that you're working hard on this factor. But there's another side of it. Your businesses would be nothing if it weren't for the people that run them, that work in them, and that lead them. In order for your businesses to be successful, we need to bring people into the community, into a town that has livability and that is well run. Well, you have to take care of the streets and the sewers and the waters and electricity. But beyond that, you have to listen to the needs of the people. What are the things that draw these people that you need to be successful in your businesses? And it's the amenities in your community. And they include libraries, parks, pools, community centers. But the library is the heart of this community. It is the other side of the big picture from business. It is what is most important for you sitting up there to understand is to listen to the people. Listen to us. We talk. We let you know. And what we want is for this library project to go through. This is a sad thing that we've gone this far. We've had our hopes and our dreams and our desires in this project. And to have it sitting here with the possibility of being cut out. If it's cut out tonight, it's going to be hard to start it up again. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, councilors and mayor. Listen to the people.
My name's Ruth Irons. I live at 577 Northeast 21st in Canby. I'm frequently in the library, and I couldn't help but notice it's always busy. There's all kinds of people in there. They're looking for help with study projects. They're looking for research materials. They're using the computers, checking out books, talking to the librarians, and there's almost always a waiting line. No matter what they're doing, there are other people waiting to do the same thing. We need more room, and we need it as soon as we can get it. I think putting this on hold just is going to cost us more money, and I doubt we will ever get another library, considering how close the vote was last time. Thank you.
Mr. Backstrom, anything? No?
Thank you. Here's what I know. You'll be $500,000 short in revenue this year when you come to put the city budget together. That $500,000, roughly, you're short of that because you have to pay urban renewal bonds. Next year it's going to be $600,000. In a few years it's going to be $800,000. And at the end of the district it's going to be $1,550,000. That's 7 years from now. So your $500,000 that you're short now is going to triple in 7 years, minimum. I ask you, are your revenues going to triple in 7 years? You have a lot of obligations to meet. That's the other side that a lot of the folks don't understand. This is not free. This costs a lot of money every single year. And it hasn't cost very much in the past because it now starts to geometrically increase. And it's going to get to be $1.5 million bucks. And you have to struggle with that. You've got union raises to put up for, health costs, and all the things that Mr. Ryder mentioned. Those are real. And I ask you if you've already seen some indication of what your budget forms look like and how much revenue you're going to have and what your obligations are. How are you going to meet those? And are we looking at some future levies because you don't have enough money? What has to be cut? Remember, 2 years ago, you had to take money from the library budget. These folks are not happy. That was because of urban renewal debt, and that's increasing and increasing and increasing. So that's what the reality is. This is not about people who hate libraries. It's about people who are worried about the finances of our city, and I'm one of them.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm sort of in
Well,
Standing room only.
you bet. Well, you might want to check with Miss Bitter because she's next. If you, okay.
I'm Larry Castle. I have a business a block over on 3rd Avenue. I want to address some conservative values. And conservative can mean we don't want to spend anything or do anything, but that's not what I'm thinking of. We've spent a lot of money and effort on the project that's before us. It's not a conservative value to throw that away. And I differ from Councilor Ryder in terms of when to do this project. This is a time when the rates are low and there's plenty of labor out there. Why to put it off until rates are higher, expenses are higher, building costs and wages and everything else goes up? Why not do it now? Why not put some people to work now on this project? That would be good for the community. In fact, it would bring revenue to the community. It was mentioned that there's going to be people disappointed and unhappy, people happy, no matter what's decided. And I'm going to reiterate what some have said, that the library in this community is popular. A few years ago, when the economy was worse than it is now, we voted to fund the library. Why is that? Because the people in this community support the library. That's the majority that's out there. Those are the people that's why there are so many people here. Those people have voted, and that's what they have wanted, that's what they've been told they're going to get. Finally, is it a conservative value to break our promises? This city government has promised the people of the community that we're going to have a new library. We voted on it. We've worked on that. And now what? Is this going to be the council of broken promises? Is that what you want to be known for? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's what any of us want. We've made those commitments. And there's a lot of people counting on that. It's not appropriate to break that promise to the community of Canby. And we ask that you, whatever your reservations might be, I understand them in hard times, in economics, but we have something that's going forward. Vote for it. Let it continue forward. Don't break the promise.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. I'm Susan Bitter. I live in Canby. I'm a little stunned at the process that's going on tonight. I believe that you've heard everything. I agree with just about everything that's been said here tonight. The project has been mandated and approved by the previous council. I believe that you have an ethical responsibility to go forward with that mandate. I also am stunned that you're willing to throw away all the project money that's been used up so far, the considerable city manpower and resources that have been used. You have a strong contingent of volunteers working hard, fundraising for the library. You're willing to throw away $1 million. I believe they committed to raising $1 million. You have the money in the bonds in the bank. People, we're talking about a library. This is a no-brainer. It's a library. Whether it's on 2nd Avenue or 3rd Avenue, we've already done the planning for 2nd Avenue. What's the holdup? What are you doing? We're all asking that question here. I believe it is a privilege and honor to serve your community. Your appointment as counselors is temporary, and your power is fleeting. But the ramifications of your decisions have a long-lasting effect on our community. What will your legacy be? Will it be part of the solution? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Joyce Ayers, and I'm a resident of the city of Canby and have been for the last 10-plus years. When we first moved here, I was very involved still with my business in West Lynn. I did a lot of stuff in West Lynn and in Clackamas County. My first impressions of Canby was a very sleepy little town, but a little town that my husband loved, that just happened to have the golf course that we belonged to. So we moved to Canby. My first trip to the Canby Library, I recall going home and saying, man, have you been in that place? It is so depressing. A library should be vital. It should show the life of the city that it's in, and by golly, right now, it does. Is that what you want for Canby? There's already been a lot of money spent in planning the new library. You already know that you've got the money sitting, the bonds have been sold, it's been directed. You already have heard all of the arguments from everybody here. I did a real nice job of writing out some notes today, and I'm not even looking at them. As an elected official, you have an obligation to do what is in the best interest of the entire community. When you spent urban renewal dollars on First Avenue, even though there was objections by many of the locals, you increased the value of the city in which you serve. First Avenue looks so much better, and I think you probably all agree with that. And I think that the people who objected agree with that. I've had conversations with several of you, and I'm sorry, there's two of you that I haven't had an opportunity to get to know. But at least two of you have told me that you are in favor of proceeding. And now you've changed your minds. I hope that by the end of this evening, you change your mind again and realize that the money and the manpower, the emotions that have been put in place in this city to bring something that is going to be vital to the city happens. It's up to you. If you kill this tonight, you are not going to go and cite a library on 3rd. I really don't think that is really what you want to do. You want to walk away from a library completely. And that is so sad, because you are here to serve your community. And I hope you do.
Thank you. Anybody else down the row?
I'm Kathy Stewart. I moved to Canby in 2004, and I have been a longtime supporter of the library. Well, since I moved here, I volunteer in the bookstore, and I've helped with a lot of the book sales and other projects. I'm also a member of the Friends of the Library Board. And I, too, had a big thing written, and I'm just feeling very frustrated. I believe that the new library is important to the city of Canby, and I believe it will benefit our city in many ways. And I, too, believe that you need to listen to your constituents. I'm very frustrated that the decision, I thought, had been made by both the city council and by the Urban Renewal Agency to go forward with this project. And here we are months later, still talking about it, and I don't understand why. I believe it's time for the city council to stop talking about this project, to get on board with it, and then stay on board once and for all and move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Next row? Anyone? No, I'll move over to Councilor Daniels, former Councilor Daniels. That's okay. Hello, sir. How are you?
In case you forgot.
Forgot who you were.
My name's Walt Daniels. I live at 687 North Ash Street, Canby. How many are familiar with this book? This is called Robert's Rules of Order. The years that I've been on the council, this was our Bible we operated under. If you were familiar with this book, you would have found on an item that you brought up several meetings ago by a person who was against this library and just started this whole meeting. If we'd have followed Robert's rules that night, we wouldn't be here tonight. Because that would have to be, was decided by the previous council to go ahead on it. It was on 2 votes. And when I was on the council, the majority ruled. Even if I was against something, if the council were majority, I would go out in the committee and represent the council. When I started on the council, we were talking about the Pioneer Industrial Park. We had a committee set up, a task force, and also a board. And there was a lot of dialogue in between. There were some things I didn't agree with, but the board went ahead with it, and I supported that. Finally, nowadays, we do have the industrial park. According to Robert's Rules of Order, if you're going to reconsider something that's been already decided, because it's off your table, it's in the hand of the public, is that somebody who voted for the affirmative would ask a motion to be brought back for consideration, and then the whole council would vote if they want to reconsider it. If that was done and the vote was favorable to the library, we wouldn't be here. Now, we're sitting here hashing over stuff that's been done for several of the planning meetings and the recommendation from the task force from the library as far as location. Some of the things I don't agree with, but that's what came forward. I support the decision of the council. Some say, well, we're taking retail space out by doing it on 2nd Street. I built a store where the library is right now, or 20 years ago. And that building, the only building that had been built for retail since we built our store was Cuss Forest remodel and the mini chef's building there and the theater. So as far as taking that away from retail, there's a lot of other retail available. I think we need to go back and follow Robert's Rules of Order. You engage some committees to come up with a plan for the library. You've seen the plan. Hopefully you've been through all those mini charrettes and seen how the library was put together and had your input in it. This kind of meeting should have been done back in November, not after staff had an idea that this was approved and now 6 months down the road, there's objection. What's going to keep it from the people who are against this keep bringing this up all the time? I think it's time that the council accept what was made last year and move forward with it. Thank you.
I guess we'll start with you there in the back row, Mr. O'Connor, or Mr. Olson, pardon me.
You turned me into an Irishman. My name is Tom Olson. I live at 835 North Elm in Canby, and I was one of the several citizen volunteers that helped with the facilitation of the building of the new city vision, which you unanimously adopted just a couple of meetings ago. I think, simply put, the driving theme of that work that was done by citizens, about 800 hours of volunteer citizens' input, the driving theme for the vision was community renewal. periodic community renewal, building on positive, wise decisions already made. Citizens recognized, for example, that Canby benefits greatly from having an impressive array and variety of gathering places to build that sense of community and to provide public services. Certainly, the increasingly revitalized downtown is showing that it is an attractor. It's a gathering place. Certainly, the Richard Brown Center at the school district is a gathering place. And certainly, the public library is a gathering place. These gathering places, the citizens who worked on the vision felt needed to be strengthened and renewed in order to serve an increasing number of citizens to receive services, to recreate, to appreciate, and probably most importantly, to learn together. The City Council has already made a variety of wise decisions that will help this new vision come to fruition. The modernization of the downtown is an example. It's getting rave reviews, and it's attracting people. And the decision to create a new modernized library is the second of those two decisions already made. Tonight, you're being asked to reconsider the decision the council's already made regarding the library. Please do not reverse that decision. A new library is a major pivot point on the route to the new city vision. It will serve as both as a community gathering place and a place for all citizens to freely continue to learn. Reversing the decision is not renewal. It is retreat. It is retrenchment. Retreat and retrenchment are not the stepping stones to the path that those citizens recommended in the vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sue?
You may wonder why I'm here, and you've heard me speak many times before, but I'm not wearing that hat right now. I'm a retired, happy-go-lucky 65-year-old, and I don't even live here. I don't even live in the library district, so why in the world would I feel like I have a right to say anything to you about it? Well, for one thing, every February 1st, I pay $95 for the privilege of coming to your library, because I love libraries. The Southwest branch of the Seattle Public Library gave me my first paycheck when I was 15 years old and a sophomore in high school. And I worked there until the day that I left for college. I love libraries, but what I actually want to talk about is something else. I'm not actually used to talking about myself, but I'm actually going to do it, and there's a purpose to it. There's been a lot of talk about water economic drivers, what brings people to Canby. Well, I don't live here. I live in Aurora. And Aurora is a wonderful town, except for the price of the water and sewer, which would just gobsmack you if you had to pay that much. But otherwise, it's a charming town. But it doesn't have the whole array of services. It's not a full-service town. You could buy antiques till the cows came home. And the Tav has better food than it used to. But there's not a whole lot else. So I have to go somewhere else. I have to get in my car, and I have to go somewhere else to do my all kinds of shopping. And I have choices. I can come here. I can go to Wilsonville. I can go to Woodburn. Of late, of the last several years, I've been coming here. And I thought, well, you know, I'm a widow, and I don't have a need to shop at Costco anymore. I don't buy that quantity. Am I really making a contribution here? Well, here's some of the stuff that I bought in the last 12 months. Lots of groceries, unfortunately, prescription and doctor visits, haircuts, eyeglasses, clothes and shoes, household goods, gifts and greeting cards, pedicure, lab work at the hospital. My bank is here. My insurance agent is here. As of 2 days ago, I changed it to somebody here on this very street. I did a refinance through a mortgage company. I bought my water softener here. I hired a Canby plumber. I eat out more than I used to when I had to support little kids. I go to movies when I can. Now, I'm an adult, so the love life of a teenage werewolf isn't of much interest to me. But whenever I can find something the local theater's showing that I want, I would go here before I would drive up to Bridgeport. I love the Performing Arts Center and the events at Waite Park and the events at the Clackamas Rodeo. I've used a realtor's services. When I wash my comforters, I come to the laundromat. I go to Ace Hardware and Canby Building Supply. And I've had lots of things framed because my job is a family historian, so I have to get stuff framed. And I teach sewing to a group of little girls, and I trooped them all down to the fabric store on First Street. And I love the library, and I go there often. So what I want to explain to you is I don't live in Canby, as I said. I've lived in Oregon for a little over 28 years, almost all of that time in Aurora. When I first lived in Aurora, I hardly knew where Canby was. My orientation, that's a different county, was Woodburn, because I had two daughters who took ballet lessons, swimming lessons, piano lessons, swim team, all in Woodburn. So because I was going there anyway, and even at those days' gas prices, I wasn't going to waste my time. So my bank was there, my insurance agent there was there, my doctors were there, all that was there. Because a community has to have a hook, or maybe more than one hook, to get you to come and stay. And the gentleman that said when his wife goes up to Wilsonville, she's not going to just sit around, she's going to go to the thrift trade, she's absolutely right. I still like my dentist in Wilsonville, and I'm sure the dentists here are very nice, but when I go to Wilsonville, I also go to Sherry's and I do a bunch of other stuff. I'm not going to waste the gas. Okay. I think I'm pretty representative of people with a choice. I used to go to Woodburn, but over time, it became Canby, and it's definitely Canby now for almost all of my day-to-day stuff. But the library really matters to me. And I think you're dead wrong to think that this is not the right place to put a library. Let me describe to you what's on it now. And it addresses what is, there's 4 parts to that bond issue: the refinance of the bonds, the building of the last important link to Sequoia Parkway, the library, but also the administrative offices. Let me give you a quick rundown of what administrative offices are like in this piece of land here, because I can say this now because I'm not an employee anymore. Okay, there's 4 buildings, 9 bathrooms. Only 3 or 4 of them are handicapped accessible, but those 2 are locked up all week long, and nobody can use them. My first day on the job in May of 2008, I noticed that the door from the lunchroom in that horrid little building, where I worked for 4.5 years, squeaked. And because I'm kind of a do-it-yourself kind of person, I brought my WD-40 the next day, and I stopped a squeak. And my staff was furious. That was the security system, that squeaky door. These places, as they exist now, are dumps. And they are dumps. And there are about 7 photocopiers. Everybody has a photocopier, orders their stuff separately from wherever, because nobody can ever talk to each other. They never even see each other. It's not good customer service. We're not nice to the people. We send them out in the rain, walk down the street for a block. You need a new administrative offices, and nothing in your plans really addresses it, except way out into the future. But you needed it about 10 years ago. So please don't mess up this really great plan, the best interest rate you'll ever see in the rest of your natural life. Build the library, please. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else there along the back? Ms. Boyce.
My issues, I'm Stephanie Boyce, Canby. My issues from the beginning about the library has everything to do with what I feel is a misuse of urban renewal money. It has nothing to do with the library itself. Concerning urban renewal, local governments use it as a tool of first resort for assemblage of large-scale projects. However, the government's role is not to be a developer, but rather to facilitate conditions that are friendly to business. A $5.7 million library, which does not generate revenue, is being built on prime real estate where private businesses could be generating revenue and jobs. I believe the library to be a misuse of tax urban renewal funds, a misuse of $5.7 million worth or plus. But I want to end the night, if I am the last speaker, that is, on a positive note because of all the doom and gloom. One, I believe it was discussed tonight that, let's say you voted this project down, that there could be other alternatives and options, as in a revamp to the old library. And that's a possibility. So I don't see a complete doomsday to this. And on another positive note, the library is going to be open tomorrow, and you'll be able to attend it for more days to come. And there will also be multiple other libraries in our schools that you will be able to use as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No?
Sir, I hadn't planned to say anything, I'm just going to be an observer, but I wanted to say a few things. I'm a fairly new person to Canby. I've been here about 7 years.
What's your name, sir?
John Lesser.
Thank you, sir.
And we moved out here because we had some great friends that we wanted to be closer to, and also they had a great golf course. That was probably the biggest attraction. As I moved out here, friends would say, "Do you like Canby?" I said, "I love Canby. It's a great town. There's only two things that bother me. One is the fact they don't have a theater, but fortunately the city fathers decided to put a theater in, and so we're happy now. But the second thing that bothered me the most, and I'm a very avid library user. I probably go to the library at least 40, 50 times a year. And so it's very important to me. And I live in West Lynn, and they had a great library there. As Clint mentioned, it was about, or somebody mentioned it was about 25 years ago. I didn't realize it was that long, but it's a fantastic library. And the one thing I complained about was the library here. I said, that's the only thing that really bothers me about Canby. And once a week we have our granddaughter. She comes over, she stays the night, and she wants to go to the library. And she doesn't necessarily want to go to the Canby Library. She wants to go to the Wilsonville Library. And that's even nicer than the West Lynn one. And so it's one of those things where I take the extra half hour or whatever it is to drive over there. She goes to the story time, and she has a great time at the library there. And I have nothing against the personnel at the Canby Library. They're great. Every time I've gone there, they've been super service, and they've done everything I like. But it's only a place to go pick up a book and drop a book off. And it doesn't have the feel and what I would like in a library. And I know that listening to the 5 counselors today, each of you express your own views, and it sounds like there's 3 against and 2 for. I'm hoping that after you heard all these people this evening, that you will approve this library. It's important to the citizens, and it's important to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from council at all? I'm sorry. I'm out here on the corner. Okay.
If I could just make one